session. I'm MJ. I'm the founder of All to Love. I'm the host of this channel. I post on TikTok, Instagram, and I post weekly for my patrons. So my patrons get exclusive live share links. So they'll get the link knowing I'm going live, and then we get to have like interactive sessions. You can join patrons for as little as $5 every month. And then top tier patrons get a little discount on personal readings and privately working with me, and they get access to the Be the Change online courses. So All to Love is really born of my own desire to make the world a better place and this sort of long-winded spiritual quest that I've been on for the last 25 years. I started having sort of spiritual activations when I was about 18 years old. I had a very difficult childhood, like so many, and grew up really fast, kind of thing. And I am a Capricorn rising. If any of you are into astrology, I'm a Capricorn rising with my South Node there as well. So I'm very, very independent, and I have 2 grand cardinal crosses in my chart. So I'm super initiatory. I take action. I pursue inspiration. I have heeded the call at different times in my life, which in a certain expression you could say have collapsed timelines, have healed ancestral curses and wounds, and I'm still very much working with the ancestors and guides, and really just firmly connected to my own heart. And I intuitively, through just living my own life and endeavoring transformation, learned a lot more about shadow work, where I call it like the trigger wave and emotional storm. So when you're in an emotional storm, the physical body is alchemizing emotional trauma, which can be inherited. It's systemic. It's from childhood. It's potentially an aspect of your soul. Well, I would say very likely an aspect of your soul's growth. And we are living in these radical times. And so our ability to alchemize, our ability to transform, our ability to know our truth and to know our power is a very real, I think, quest for humanity, right? Because we're living in these extraordinary extremisms where it's like, it would appear like we're going to destroy the planet, that we're going to be in ravaging wars for infinitude, and or end up extracting all the resources and just burning ourselves up, or invoking floods that end up destroying. And I mean, not to fearmonger, but I think there's a reality to living in end times, living in but from a spiritual perspective, it's a transformation of our collective belief systems. So different ways we can look at that are like going from a fear-based perspective, where we're just separate from nature and we're separate from each other, and it's separate from God, and so we have to be fearful and fight for our right to exist, and all this. And you can see over the ages the way control has endeavored to kind of take over very violently, right? So there's the division between men and women, and there's the division between the rich and the poor, and there's the division between the colors of our skins, and there's just all these divide and conquer tactics that would have us stay separate and in fear. And so my own quest has really allowed me to transform a lot of pain and division within self just via my own heart and desire to be a light, like to be and like very human still, like endeavoring to pay bills and stay grounded and be of service, but not at the disservice of my own well-being. And that's, I think, more and more empathic, compassionate people awakening to the insidiousness of manipulation in our culture, and how there are people that are, through survival, conditioned to just wear a mask. And it's like all those social normities and social niceties that actually are masking um, disconnection or lying or, you know, deception. And with the current cosmic transits happening in the sky, it's really pointing to a rebirth of our individual spirituality, to give more and more people permission to seek to know themselves, right? In safe spaces where we can rage and feel and purge and be held, through the grace of the mother, as far as like you could say divine feminine, but we look at these polarities that actually are meant to be unified and work together, not in opposition. But if we deny our communion of being at home on this planet, then we really live in denial of our own self and our own divinity and our own exquisite beauty, right? So it's in that recognition of the home, residing within the heart space, that allows us to alchemize the distortion of the field and perceive something with greater clarity and ideally like optimism, right? Where leaders actually care about each other, and that people that have power, that power is actually there to serve the totality, to live a better life, not weird like hoarding of wealth and keeping the majority of humanity oppressed. And so we're living in incredibly awakening times. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks for the likes. I didn't even have to say it, and some of y'all liked the thumbs up thing, so I appreciate that. I've been working on my brand since 2012. I've been broadcasting on the internet since 2012. And I've been teaching yoga and meditation and spiritual things for coming up to 20 years. By 2028, it will be 20 years that I've been teaching these things, which I endeavor to make as practical as possible, as in, if we're moving our body around, we should feel better for it eventually. When I teach meditation, I remind people that if we wanted to change our body's composition, we wouldn't necessarily see a difference if we went to the gym one time or kind of committed to a physical practice one time. It's the same with meditation. Meditation is a very deep and powerful practice, but it requires everyone's different, but like it requires some level of commitment and dedication for a certain extended period, right? Like possibly 2 weeks or a month or longer, and then eventually you'll be like, oh my god, I can see, and I can see my thoughts, and I can feel, and I can kind of align, and then I can have more conscious control over what I'm thinking. And for me, or back in the day, it was realizing how much of my mental construct was like blaming and attacking people for how I feel, rather than owning my responses and then alchemizing the usually the trauma, a childhood trauma, or just some trauma from life that made me think and perceive a certain way. And at a point now where I'm able to just observe and recognize and understand the nervous system in connection to intuition, and even again from the kind of hierarchical economical class structure stuff, seeing more deeply into the historical framework of how colonialism and imperialism has really shaped us, and why there's so much like insidiousness within power structures, like just on the grassroots level, that people often with any amount of like material power will use that to protect their ego from their own wounding, right? So it's no way to like shame people. It's just an awareness that as a collective, as a human collective, we've got a fair bit to like break down within ourselves to perceive from a greater place of unity and grounding. And I'm certainly aware of that, and that all of these spiritual ideations or these manifestation laws and all that is fantastic, but we have to employ them in earnest and really work it is it worth it? We're gonna bang, down, flip it, and reverse it. Really work it in the three-dimensional realm, right? Where I've personally had that experience of spiritual activation, but not having the actual support system and the means to ground that energy. So I had an experience of a hardcore burnout, and it's taken me years to heal from that. But I'm still alive, which is great, and I'm I'm back in a greater sense of stability. And then in as far as like relational dynamics, I'm much more aware of like the body's systems. Like once you've broken free from a lot, you might attract people who are kind of who talk the talk, or like who play a certain role in their community, be it the nice guy or the good girl or like the spiritual woman or like blah blah. So all the language is there, but like energetically you're just not able to like it, you can't relax properly, or you're not able, or like there you perceive slips of the mask. So if they're, so for example, if they're like super the nice guy, but then you suddenly catch them like kicking their dog, but then they notice that you notice them kicking the dog and they like pet them or something, and you're like, that's suspicious. But again, I think when you're endeavoring to more deeply understand, you will eventually see, you'll see the lie, you'll see the nuance of why your nervous system couldn't settle, or and then as a collective, as we continue to heal the shadow from colonialism, which is intertwined with privilege and supremacy, and again power and control dynamics, as a collective, as we continue to shine light and have a deeper understanding of healing those wounds, we will continue to see power structures dissolve, more authenticity kind of rising. And even that, like the word authenticity, it like they're all just words. At the end of the day, it's just our own personality, it's our own person, and then our how we're kind of interconnected and interrelated with one another from that place of truth, from that place of like feeling connected. And it's a very wild ride, isn't it? When we know our heart, we have a deeper understanding. Because for years, I was kind of in that love and light bubble, and that came crashing down. And now I'm kind of on the other side of deeper healing within my ancestry, but also in the collective kind of colonial framework. And it's like humility supreme, and a sort of hard pill of human limitation, and an acceptance of our own personal limitations, but also a deeper compassion for the way people are indoctrinated and programmed into a structure that is systemically painful, right? Because a lot of the colonialist framework requires humans to be completely desensitized and dissociated to fulfill the role, right? Whether they're an important person, whether they're a powerful person, whether they're a good guy, so we have these sort of labels that the ego will identify with to uphold that egoic function, but that egoic function is very much anchored in dissociation and trauma. Right? So yeah, a fair bit to unpack there. J-Lo. I mean, that's not that, I know. Well, maybe that's meant to be a compliment. I'm not a massive fan, but that's okay, but she's a fairly attractive woman, so I'll take it. I don't know, what am I thinking of? J-Lo. Oh, what's that song? I for a while used to love this song with her and LL Cool J. You got what it takes to make me leave my man. Something about, oh yeah, it's called Control Myself. Oh God, mainstream media is just, it's not my fave, that's all. Mainstream media is not my fave, and I I think there's a lot of darkness. I think there's like I think there's an underbelly. Come on. We know now. We know there's an underbelly. There's these seedy corruptions just laced everywhere on every echelon of our hierarchical society and culture. And I think for me personally, I'm like, I just want to be able to grow my own food and hermit somewhere where I'm not going to get evicted, you know? So, and I'm talking about like the times I've been evicted, it's like, it was never my fault. Like, as in, it was just the people with the power being like, we want to make more money out of this property. So could you go? And you're like, fuck. Being homeless and being financially vulnerable is tricky in this world. And as a sensitive, giving, caring person who's endeavoring to have greater boundaries, I'm more acutely aware of, and this could be a message for some of you, the times in my life where I attracted the most potentially dangerous and or like sort of messed up energetics were when I was super vulnerable financially and not having any support. So I'd somehow end up like getting into these situations where people are like, I'll help you. And then it ended up being anything but that. And it's like either getting entrapped in a situation, being spied on in situations, being like used and gaslit and all that. And then every single time it's like every single time I'd be like, "Oh, why do I feel so off skis?" Or why do I not really want to hang out with this person? Or why? And then eventually I'd see them spying on me, or I'd catch them lying to me or cheating or something. And you're like, oh, that's why, holla. And then as much as it's kind of like a crunchy thing to process, the more you process that, the more you see like it's their shame and it's their stuff. And I'm free. And that's a big pointer to like karma. We end up in situations, but if we're doing really deep emotional work, straight up, eventually you will be freed karmically, which simply means energetically you have the power, the strength, and the insight to walk away from situations that are abusive or energetically usurping. And that is, again, the aspects of manipulation, deception, where somebody's actually siphoning energy from you. They're using you as a piece in their life, or they're the facade that they project is not who they really are, and that it somehow behooves them to have you around. And then if it feels off ski, or it's like having an encounter where you're absolutely drained. I was in a situation once where this person, like anytime they would corner me to have a chat, I would literally almost start to fall asleep when they'd start talking to me. And then more recently, similarly, like just always felt unsettled. And like in my conscious mind, thinking I really care and love for this person, because on the surface, like on paper, everything looked like it should line up and match up. And then catching them like lying. And for me personally, that's just my own personal, like, I love to have compassion and I can be very, very forgiving. But once I've sussed something, and then once you see and catch the actual lie, you're like, ah. So it's actually less about them and more about my own liberation, because I kind of feel like everyone is, as in, only we can liberate ourselves. What's that song? Oh, none but ourselves can free our mind. So once I see something, it's like, then I'm free, because unconsciously I'm usually trying to fix or change or something, Psychological and just thrilling, awesome. Oh, this pain is illusion. We are eternal. Hala, 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 hala. Yes, we are, my lovers. We are eternal. Hey, so Capricorn? Me too, Capricorn. I mean, I would say so, because we had that pile up in Capricorn very recently, which is going to be like supercharging you or reinvigorating your essence to like keep climbing, keep going, A renewed sense of self is likely to be coming through for the Capricorn. I've never seen that, to be fair. As in, I'm tracking back into the comments. I've never seen the J-Lo look-alike, but that ain't no bad. Ain't nobody. It really is that, again, these things can take a bit to like realize what's going on, is that you genuinely just feel really drained after hanging out with people. And very basic, it would be that they're not like in their brain, they're not in brain heart coherence. They're not connected to their own being. And so there's like a fracture or fragmented sense of self where they like, and they can be maybe quite intense or actually incredibly charming or all these things. But after the encounter, or maybe during the encounter, you're drained of your energy. You're tired. You feel, and again, a more recent example where on paper it all looked good, but like the closer I got for longer periods, I literally just felt run ragged. Like it didn't matter how much sleep I was getting. It didn't matter how well I was eating. It didn't, et cetera, et cetera. I just started to feel like all tired and run ragged, and weirdly even like things like feeling really gross, like feeling like I was just disgusting. Right? And it's like, and then within a few days or at least weeks of not having any contact with this person, I'm starting to feel myself again. I'm starting to have energy again. I'm like, oh my God. But 6 years, yeah, like 5.5 years of relating with this person, now I can see. So I'm like, oh my God, thank God. And it usually just means people that aren't fully like in their integrity. They don't know themselves. And so they see something in you that they kind of like or that they want, and they want to get to know, but because they're not fully in their integrity, they can't be honest about what they're really thinking and feeling. And over time, if you're a super honest and transparent person with a certain connection to your own heart, there's like, people might try to hook into that. Yeah, exactly. Well, it can be in a sense, like as in, people can do all the right things and still be addicts to drama, addicts to deception, manipulation, being addicted to seeking validation, being addicted to one's own egoic identity. There's so many things. And can it be unintentional? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because these conditions, these programs we inherit are generations, and they go back generations, and they're extraordinarily deep. So there's so many people walking around not knowing that they're conditioned by patriarchal structures. They're conditioned to either be submissive and just caring and nice all the time, or they're conditioned to be dominating and controlling and important. Just who knows? Like there's any number of these conditions that are part of their operation system. And I mean, in my esteem, oftentimes, like when you have an obvious addiction, like smoking, for example, which I've battled with most of my life, it's obvious. It's out in the open. I can't hide that. That's an active addiction that I'm that I'm aware of, that I'm working with, that it's like, keep working on it. Whereas like, I think when you live a perfect life, right? When you do the green juices or don't have any vices, then pay attention to behavioral patterns as in our behavioral patterns in our intimate relationships can do great harm. Just like most people would look at a smoker and be like, you're doing harm to yourself. Yeah. Right? Because I'm a human being that has her own issues, right? But I'm not trying to hide that. I can't really hide that. There's no point in hiding that. But somebody that's making me feel really bad or really horrible or really ashamed, whilst I'm physically trying to be aware of it and hold space for it and work through it, and at times very successfully leaving it behind, and over the years engaging with it less and less, it's like somebody whose behavioral pattern causes harm, but they're unwilling to admit the harm they cause. That's the addiction, because they're still in a blame and attack rhetoric. They're still blaming and attack other people for how they feel, and dismissing and discarding people that even come close to reflecting to them their shadow, right? It's so true. Brisheda says we are all addicted to something. Straight up, like with the phones these days. What? Major. Like, I'm so addicted to the phone, and but it's having this awareness and also this compassion, y'all. Like, we're all in this together. And yet when you're stepping to the edge and doing more alchemical work, it becomes harder and harder to withstand people that don't want to do the emotional work. Because like there's the physical, like from my yoga journey, it was like just practicing asanas and sitting in meditation for years before there was like a breakthrough into like career and into teaching on larger scale, right? And like actually allowing the universe to bestow me with enough money to survive via the teaching of yoga, because I aligned with it from a heart-centered level. It works. So after years and years and years of practicing yoga and meditation, then more of the spideys come in, and then more of the kind of like intuition is able to land, and then more of the kind of alchemical deeper insight and knowing around energy and around emotion. And so it's like if you're going deeper and deeper to transform yourself and heal and become a unified being, the people that aren't willing to go there will just fall away somehow, some way. And it will be you seeing something where you go, no, and then be free and liberated karmically, so that you're not feeling a pull to their energy or feeling a pull. So often I realize that a lot of my attraction points on a deeper level were like actually wanting to fix or help, just wanting to help people, wanting to be of service. And but the clincher there was that I wasn't I wasn't supported. I wouldn't have any money, or wouldn't da 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 da. And then I think I'd like want to help these people who really can help themselves, who can go to therapy or do the work or da da da. And then again, it's more personal. It's not really about like we're all on our journey. I'm not going to harbor grievances. It's just, it is what it is. Being free energetically is kind of the point of clearing karma. Hey, that way. Do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, right? And that's another piece too. Energy siphoners, they often maybe they actually have a hard time being honest with themselves. And that's where, like, is it intentional or not? Who knows? But if it's not, you as in, like, especially if it's unintentional, then you just want to step away, because, and if they defend or like, well, I didn't do anything, or it's like, well, straight up, if your behavior is causing harm and somebody you love is like, that behavior is causing harm, you go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, tell me more, as in I'm not aware. That would be somebody going, it's unintentional. Whereas if they're suddenly go quiet or start to real excuses, it's more than likely intentional, and they're ashamed of it. And they don't want to own up to that shame, and they don't want to change. So they're going to go either play the victim or somehow blame you, right? Like, it's just, it's kind of fascinating when you're far enough away from it and not actually in the cycle, because it's something I would also admit to is like, for years in relating to this specific person, was like, there was so much pain, emotional pain, like for years. Every morning I'd wake up in the night in absolute grief and emotional pain. I was in a deep despair and emotional pain, like pretty much on the daily. And I would show up, I would like literally wipe my eyes and put makeup on and put myself together just to get through my daily readings, just to get through my session work. It was such a profound kind of heart activation, and it's taken 5.5 years to finally have the kind of power to trust the intuition and to follow through and then see it and be like, aha, they lie. And in this situation, I'm pretty sure it is intentional, because of the lack of care. And it once you see that, you're just like, oh, okay, like I definitely can't go there, because just surrounding oneself with those type of people will be draining. And also, like, energetically, you have to kind of suppress yourself, which is the flip that I'm having now in having a lot more energy to share and focus on my work. And I can't even tell you, like, literally within these last few days of making that break, loads more readings have come through, online sales have come through. It's like freeing myself from my own childhood wounding of thinking I have to fix everybody, or thinking that I have to stay small to, like, be accepted, is just like a lie that I held to survive. And thank God the collective is awakening, whereby we're all awakening and going, I don't want to live like that anymore. I want to be honest. I want to be myself. I want to be the truth that I know I'm kind of seeking. And that's an ongoing process. It's like, they know not what they do. It's like none of us know. We don't know when we're in ignorance. We're just putting on the clothes society tells us to wear because that's what we're told to do. That's why usually spiritual awakenings are a spontaneous revelation. There's like pieces of truth and nugget in all of our spiritual texts. It's just that people will use they will kind of extrapolate certain things out of context to favor their control and manipulative tactic. Just like the entire global stage uses media to direct en masse, right? They use the media to direct people's attention. And we're all hooked. That's why I propagate unplugging for freedom. I'm been for years banging on about unplug from mainstream media. Social media is still pretty heavily programmed as well to trigger us and or to divide us. But I'm also all at once grateful because I've made a career out of sharing on the internet, and I have friends who have done the same. And I've also met some brilliant minds on the internet that have helped me understand myself more. People that are thinking outside the box, people that are breaking down old paradigms and building new ones, and kind of rewiring the circuitry of our human consciousness, right? To be more free, and ideally to support one another on this journey, at least to have all of our basic needs met. The fact that people are homeless and starving is just absolutely ludicrous. Like, there's no need for the wars, there's no need for poverty, there is no need for it. And the it's exhausting. It's only when there's some weird control entity that's siphoning all the energy from the planet, pretending like they give a shit, like, oh, I'll give this back to you one day. Because their ego is being fueled by having more power and we're going to see pretty wild things in our lifetime. And I endeavor that a lot of us will build our heavens. We'll be able to create heaven on earth and usher in a new consciousness for this humanity on this planet. It's pretty much the only reason we're here. What? Hence where I don't care about having the millions. I don't care about being in the right kind of relationship. I don't care about my status in my local environment. It's pure, like, just divine source, tell me what to do, and live in that flow. Is it easy? No, but neither is necessarily being a slave to a system which destroys everything, including itself. Let's jump off that train. Let's get on the love train, you guys. Let's get on the love train. Oh, you guys are on fire. You're on fire today having a chat. Hey, manifestation. Manifestation. Read me, please, Delma. Read me. Galactic Paragon Apex. Great. Yes. Let's do it. We should come up with a defense against the indoctrination book as well as toxic tactics. Well, I think, you know, like that's on its way. That's kind of coming. Like first we have to be aware of it, right? And more people have to be aware of it. And then the literature will keep coming. At 12 years old, I was already prepared to be spiritually awakened. Practicing gratitude is a Hollow Shazam. It's like that's something too about when you're doing these things in earnest, is like, don't take much, does it? As in, I can just hear birdsong and be so grateful. Just like existence, it's cool. It's cool. Even the moments where I've been like, you know, like deep in the gack of my own karma trauma. And still in that pain, having a sense of gratitude for the experience. Am I quite pleased to not be in that anymore? Yes. Am I quite pleased to have my own home and safe space? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Am I quite pleased, right? To not be feeling like I'm on the run from, or even like this exile wound, kind of like being able to make peace with why and how, and like accept this wound where I don't belong or fit anywhere. I'm like, of course, whatevs. I fit in my body, in my world, as in I exist. So, and I believe everybody else has a right to exist. So it's like, we're good. I mean, there's a few bits to do. You know, we got to give everybody access, and it'd be good to, you know, clean up oceans and rewire our energy systems and shine light on corruption to take it down, you know? So, you know, there's a fair bit of work to do. Keep transforming the trauma drama, and have faith, right? Hey ho, the potted train, the love train. What? Oh, do you like this? This is one of my. I have a shop. I collaborate. This is great for small creators or people like entrepreneurs on a budget, where you can go to Tmill. You can actually set your shop up for free, but I pay a small subscription so that I can go on. Everything is sustainably sourced. So I really do propagate buying only secondhand, like everywhere and anywhere possible. Just buy, reuse and recycle. Don't buy from corporations. Don't buy from the high street. Don't buy into fast fashion. But I also want to make stuff for all to love. So, because I say weird words like vibratories, and there's a big love one. There's some rainbow designs. There's some really basic ones that just have all to love in the label. That's mostly it. The love, the rainbow, vibratories, intuish reign supreme. And then there's also the meditation vibration, because it's meditation vibration will get you to your higher self. Unless not. Again, to each their own. But for me personally, meditation has been absolutely transformative. Exactly. You can bang your head against a wall. It's not necessarily going to wake people up. It's like liberating ourselves from addiction. That's a personal endeavor and choice. My own liberation is my own responsibility. I cannot. It's like impossible. I can't be responsible. It's not. We can't. Even as powerful healers and psychics, you can't. Especially if somebody's like resistant to like maintain their power, or like resistant to maintain their egoic function. It's like, you'll just end up doing more harm to yourself by trying to change people. Think about it. You can't go into someone's mind and heart and be like, you can only feel the biofeedback. And it's the biofeedback energetic field resonance that will show you what's resonant and what's not in coherence. And that's a feeling sensing thing, like saying one thing, doing another. Yes, we're all walking contradictions, but we can endeavor to at least own that. Yes, I say this because I think it makes me sound cool. Versus, I never said that. It's like, okay. It's just we're all different. What percentage of people you reckon are awake? Right number comes to mind? 12. We want 18% for a tipping point. That's just intuition. What percentage of people? 12. Better than, 2,000 years ago when it was like 0.001 or something like that. But again, we have these cycles, right? Every 26,000 years, we have cycles of Christ, which isn't just devoted to Christianity. It's the Christed consciousness of the human brotherhood or sisterhood, right? Or humanhood. So we have these cycles where lots of teachers, lots of prophets, lots of soul teachers come to the planet to be like, "Hala, don't forget, you guys, you're more powerful than the people that would endeavor to destroy the earth and themselves," right? So there's like a, I would say just like it's like everything in the universe is always expanding and growing. So is this earth. The cycles are what indicate the perfection of creation, right? That we're a part of too, which is the weird paradox of holding space for self. Even in my own trauma and my own jealousy and my own grief and my own shadow, that I can still love that I can still make peace with that. That's how I'm able to sort of overcome it, is that I can see how my own shadow connects to the collective warfare. I can see how my own shadow and upbringing connects to oppression. And that's where I want to stay vigilant to my own heart, to not repeat those cycles or to be somebody who ends up abusing their power, right? So, holla shazam. Hey, Grand Rising, Scott Setzela. Happy to be here. And that's the perpetual kind of practice of coming into the heart, which I believe is the teachings of many of the teachers. It's aligning with one's heart to feel into the field. Our imagination and vision is much more real and more powerful than we've ever been taught. But again, we often stay limited by fear, doubt, shame, and we make excuses, so on various levels. So it's quite like a profound energetic undertaking to kind of clear one's karma, to keep going, to live the life you desire, but not from a kind of carnal desire. It's a heart-centered desire. It's a desire to live in such a way to share, to give, to be an example, to remain humble. That's huge, like in an instant, it can all be taken away. That's kind of like, I think, what's happening too. These forces, these control forces, will not live forever. None of us will. So it's the way we're grappling with our own existential fear of death and or even going beyond that, a fear of not existing. And yet, with your own spirituality, with your own sense of connection to the source of life and all that is, the truth shall set you free. You will remember that you are eternal. You might remember, even have dreams and experiences of different dimensions, of different lifetimes. Maybe in our lifetime, we'll see more of that kind of psychic intelligence opening up and the remembrance of our multidimensionality to unify more of who we truly are into the here and now, to become more powerful creators, to be the examples for our brothers and sisters on the planet. Quick little card pull for my lovers. That's all of you here today. Thanks for the likes, you guys. 10 likes, holy Shazam. Queen of Cups. There's this shift too of like a divine feminine within us, moving away from like false masculinity, perhaps. I wonder what that is. Sometimes it could be in essence of a download that's coming through from that timeline. The 5 of Trees. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So there's a lot of integrative wisdom coming through the lessons, if you resonate with this, of like your own divine feminine, walking away from structures that are abusive. Be open to receive, okay? Something about like holding your light in esteem and holding your gifts in esteem, not having to force it, not having to oversell it. And then just being able to receive from the unseen. Receiving from the unseen. That's that divine feminine, right? That's that. I kind of get annoyed with polarities at this point too, because I'm like, we're all human. We're all feeling, thinking, sensing. Again, the big push in the next phase of our collective awakening is to harmonize the conditions of men and women, and then the conditions via class structures as well. That's our ability to break down the shadow via the colonialist framework of divide and conquer. Yes, indeed. Don't worry. Some of you, this is definitely an energy of breaking free from these abusive structures. And don't worry if some of you are feeling a bit forlorn or like a bit sad about it. There's more coming. There's more love. There's more opportunities. There's more coming in for you. Just be patient with it. Everything's getting rebalanced, you guys. Everything is getting rebalanced. Definitely with the swan energy, there's definitely a kind of divine partnership, and or the benevolence and grace of transformation is part of the rebalancing. Stay strong in your internal power, because some of you could have more than one like abuser type trying to get back in there. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as in hold high, like if even inside yourself, hold your game up high, like know your wisdom, know your innocence, and from knowing of that innocence, be open to receive, if even from the unseen. Receive the download, receive the intuitive hit, receive the message, right? And hold it dear. Like right now, the message dropped in, it's coming. It's coming, my lovers. So earlier, if you guys are new to the chat, earlier there was somebody who said I look like Jennifer Lopez. I don't think my bate is as big as Jennifer Lopez, but hey ho. As in, she's, you know, quite spicy. I'm not, again, I'm just not a fan of pop culture particularly. Although I have like a guilty, mild obsession with Justin Bieber, I think, because he's Canadian. But I need to get over that. I don't really, but I think him and his wife are cute, you know? Even whatever, silly me. It's not like I listen to his music really. I might have a few Justin Bieber songs on my playlist. Okay. Okay. And yes, him and his little wife, his not little, I shouldn't say little wife, that's diminutive. Him and his wife, his counterpart, they're just, they're attractive people. And I don't know. I think it's just growing up with Justin Bieber, and he was such a young lad when he got famous. And anyway, who cares? It doesn't matter. I'd be way more enamored with these people if they were like feeding hungry children and standing down oppressive regimes instead of trying to make more money in the capitalist market. But hey ho, hey ho. All up in the bounce and flow. Geronimo, all systems go. Come on, you guys, let's get into it. Okay, look, Brad, thank you. Look at, so he's saying, so I don't know if this is a comment about, because like I talk about divine feminine, there's another very much more objective interpretation, balancing the right and left hemisphere of the brain, booyakasha, unifying the light and the dark, unifying any ideas of the polarity construct, right? So that we all become more powerful, unified beings. Yes, I'm in a female body. At the end of the day, I'm a human. And we all essentially structure the same. It's just a matter of working through the traumatizing indoctrination of a system that never actually cared about our freedom. It only wanted our enslavement. You guys, you're making me glad I'd come live. Like, you look like J-Lo. You look like Jessica Alba. I'll take it. The lights make, who cares? Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been really fun. It's been really fun. If you're new here, thanks. Thanks for showing up. Feel free to join us in the Patreon community. I do these live shares at least once a week. Again, feeling a little bit of motivational impetus and a bit of renewed courage to do these lives again, based on someone named Kurt who requested, was like, I missed the live shares. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go live again. And interestingly enough, I'm not one as triggered by like trolly comments, but there doesn't seem to be quite many trolls, if any. And my friend Scott, you can see there, is a moderator as well. So when he's around, he might end up kind of brushing aside some of the troll action. You guys are great. I thank you for joining. Can you do my reading? I'm going to close it down. I've just done that as a collective reading. My bridge is shudda. You're welcome to visit my website or drop me an email. If you can't afford the price points, you can always email me. I do occasionally get people just saying, I really, really want a reading, but I can't afford it. And then they send me a donation. So they send, like back late last year, somebody actually sent a donation of maybe like 20 pounds. And then I did their reading. And then it was really cool because recently they reached out again and they were like, hey, like loads of transformation since I got the last reading. And this time I can afford the full price. And I'm like, wow, cool. Thank you. So if you're earnest, then feel free to send a donation and then I'll do a little reading privately for you. I just do pre-recorded readings that I usually give myself 2 days from the booking date. And then I do a pre-recorded reading so that you have the reading for the rest of your life. Or, who knows, as long as this tech stuff is all working. But yeah, I find that valuable. And sometimes people make extra requests to actually meet up on Zoom. And sometimes, actually today, I have 2 women who are fairly local to where I live. And they reached out a couple weeks ago and were like, hey, can we come meet you and sit down? Like, they're friends, and I did some modeling for one of them for their jewelry brand, and then they both booked readings, and they're both coming around this afternoon to have their readings done in person. And then I have a local retreat that I sometimes get booked for private readings there, and I teach yoga meditation there as well. Oh, thanks, you guys. Thanks a lot. Again, feel free to join the Patreons or have yourself a wonderful day. I appreciate every single one of you. It's such a joy. I'm really, really grateful for all of you and your presence. Yes, I have done sound healing, a gong bath, and those singing bowls for sure. I love it all. Flotation, and yeah, there's so many, right? Yeah, they were lovely. Corrine Wynne Evans is Wynne Evans or Corrine Evans. Anyway, yeah, check it out. Isn't that funny? Right at the end, I get this interesting comment, and it's like, "You goddamn fool!" It's like GTA. Isn't that a video game? It's like I think you popped up on the wrong channel. I don't really. Actually, I started playing a video game called LOL Beans with my niece in Canada. So there we go. There's a little read for you. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for joining me live. Take care. Peace out.